I'm Sydney Owens, and I'm here speaking with Kay Mustafa about wanting to work in the field of social work. So, Kay, tell me, what made you want to go into the field of social work?
Well, at first, I was a nursing major, but then I learned, I don't like blood, I don't like throw up, so I'm like, that's definitely not for me. And then I saw, this post on Facebook, and it basically said, be the person you wanted, be the person you needed when you were growing up.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I didn't need a social worker in a sense, but I was a troubled youth, so it was I kind of felt like I was misunderstood. I didn't feel like I was a troubled child.
Yeah.
I just needed somebody to understand me, so I was like, why not be that person for troubled youth that are going through stuff that just need somebody that can hear them out and understand what they're going through.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So, going off of that, why do you think that social work is important and necessary for the youth?
Because at least in the community I grew up in a community with a lot of immigrant parents, and most of their parents worked so much, so they didn't really understand or know what their child was going through. So it was to have somebody that you can talk to and not feel judged, because when you go to your parents about stuff, they might brush stuff off.
Yeah.
But if it's somebody that don't know you but can understand you, it's okay, cool, that's really awesome, and I wanted to do that for others.
Yeah, just kind of helping them, get through their troubles.
Yeah.
So what kind of impact do you want to have on children and families in your career specifically?
That's hard. I really just want to take the stress off the parents, because a lot of the parents I have this troubled youth on my hand, I don't know what to do with them, they're out of control. So I kind of want to take that stress off the parents, they're not a troubled youth, they're just misunderstand. And for the kids, I kind of just want them to feel free, for them to be okay, yeah, I'm going through this issue, but there's always a brighter side to everything that I'm going through.
Yeah. So they can be, successful and happy in their own lives. And I think that's important what you said about the parents, because there are so many single parents nowadays, and I'm sure I can't imagine. I'm sure it's really difficult, especially in the world we live in today. What kind of personality qualities do you think a social worker should possess, and why?
First, I feel you have to have understanding, because in my class we always talk about knowing your biases and stuff like that, and I feel as a social worker, that's the first thing you should know, know the biases that you have.
Yeah.
But then also being very understanding, being open. And my teacher was just teaching us about how you don't want to do more damage than good. So you have to be willing to just sit there and listen. Don't be so quick to respond to something they say, because then it's they feel that you're just on their case. So it's you just want to be able to sit back, listen. You can actually even learn from your clients, because everyone is different cultures and all that. So it's understanding, being able to listen, and I think those are the two top things that I would want from a social worker if I was in the other side of the tables.
Yeah, I think it definitely takes, a special kind of person to be able to do that, especially with children. So do you plan to stay here in Chicago, after you graduate to work, or do you want to go somewhere else?
Okay, well, I love Chicago, but I hate winter.
Okay.
I do not want to stay in Chicago. I really want to go to Arizona, California, somewhere that doesn't snow, but then I don't know how that's gonna work. I've lived in Chicago my whole life, so it's I'm in a sense familiar with Chicago.
Yeah.
So I feel moving somewhere else is gonna be very, very difficult, especially if I'm not mistaken. The rules are different in the different places you go. So right now I want to leave because I don't like winter, but I feel once I get into the field and stuff like that, then I'll be able to decide what I want to do and where I want to go.
Do you think that being in Chicago would, as a social worker, would be different than being in other places?
Yeah, I do, because I feel because Chicago is just, everyone sees Chicago as a bad place.
Yeah.
And it's I live here, and I'm okay, it's dangerous, but it's I still understand the mindset of people that live in Chicago. So it's I feel leaving Chicago and going to somewhere different, it's going to be hard for me to adapt to the other culture that other cities and states have. So, that's
Yeah, I think all places, you know, have their issues, and I think you're right. People do see Chicago as a bad place, but I think if you're going to other places, you'll find that everywhere has their own problems, you know, and it's just figuring out what those are and trying to, you know, be there for people who are struggling.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, thank you so much, Kay, for joining me.
No problem, Sydney.